Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Kristen Garlock, and I'm very happy to be here today with you to talk about building search skills with JSTOR. So I'm going to have a short set of PowerPoint slides here, and then we're going to jump over to the main JSTOR platform to do some demonstrations live. But one of the things I wanted to mention is that I'm not sure if everyone is aware of the context of JSTOR. JSTOR is one of the four services of the not-for-profit organization Ithaca. And the other services that make up Ithaca are ArtStore, which is a digital library of images, Ithaca SNR, which is a strategy and research group that does a lot of research into issues in scholarly communication and higher education today. And most of their reports are available for free online. So you can check those out. And then Portico, which is the fourth service, and that's a digital archiving service for scholarly and academic content. So I'd like to start today's main presentation with a question that might seem like a very basic one, which is, what is JSTOR? We know JSTOR and generally describe JSTOR as a digital library of academic journals, books, and primary sources, and that's an accurate and quick description. And you can see how many of those individual resources make up the platform today. But on a deeper and broader level, JSTOR could be said to provide a window into the history of scholarly conversation in many disciplines. The availability of the full publication histories for each journal title on JSTOR offers the ability to trace concepts and topics over time, and the breadth of the disciplines covered with the cross-search functionality can really enable a rich interdisciplinary discovery of content. At the same time, JSTOR's vast size can be daunting, and we know that students struggle with crafting good research questions and search strategies. The goal of this webinar in particular is to highlight several tools and features of JSTOR that can help students build their search skills and craft better research strategies. So in today's session, what we will cover is first, we'll spend a few minutes reviewing search tips for JSTOR's basic and advanced search. And next, we'll take a look at some of the features of JSTOR that are sometimes overlooked, but can enhance the discovery of content on the platform. And then finally, we'll take a close look at how JSTOR's text analyzer, which is a relatively new way to search JSTOR, how that new tool can be used to contextualize and refine a search, as well as to help students scaffold knowledge in an area or discipline that's new to them. So one of the things that I'm sure we all see novice searchers do is to assume that a basic search box like this one on JSTOR's main search page works just like Google. And their assumptions are understandable, but we know that they could often get better results by employing tools and approaches designed to specifically help find academic content. And so one way in which we try to help novice researchers in this basic search box on JSTOR is by suggesting some common fields they might want to use to limit a search. So in today's first example of a search, I'm going to search for articles about the novel Things Fall Apart. And as you can see, I can enter in my basic search terms here as individual words, and we get a large set of search results, which is the number that is predicted here to the right. But underneath the box, as you're typing into it, you'll see that there are some options that pop up that are suggestions for how people might want to better format some of the most common types of searches on JSTOR. And in this case, I'm going to choose to search for Things Fall Apart in the title of an article, in hopes of finding articles that focus specifically on this novel. So I'll run that search now. I get a much smaller set of search results. And so that's just one of the ways in which we're trying to help students kind of focus in a little bit more quickly into particular types of searches. We know that, however, that the basic search box, well, that is a place where a lot of people start their searches. We know that many librarians and faculty like to recommend that students start with the advanced search form on JSTOR rather than the basic search box. And the advanced search can really provide a more guided experience to the researcher. So I'm going to jump over to the advanced search form here, and I'm going to just run a basic search here for things fall apart. And because I've typed this search in already today, my browser is storing my searches. So I'll just choose them from the list that pops up, and I'll run this search. So in this case, we were doing a search for things fall apart and also for the author's name, and that gives us around 1,300 search results, which is still a fairly big set. So what I'd like to do is to go back to this search to modify it and show you some of the different ways in which we can refine the search right off the bat. So of course, by using the quotation marks in the search boxes here, we're searching for these words as phrases rather than individual terms. And that's something that we always recommend to students that they do if they are looking for a specific phrase or name. But there are also some other ways in which you can refine the search from this page. So JSTOR, as you may be aware, covers the full run of the journals, and we scan the journals cover to cover. So it not only is a database of the research articles from journals, but we include reviews. There are other parts of the journal like front matter, back matter editorials that we catalog and are fully searchable that are included under this miscellaneous category. But JSTOR has also grown to include scholarly ebooks as well as research reports and some primary sources like 19th century British pamphlets. So a very quick way to narrow down a search before you get your set of results is to use these item type options to narrow down a search. So in this case, as a student, I certainly might want to take advantage of the fact that JSTOR includes book reviews and select this option and rerun my search to look for book reviews that are about things fall apart. And I think one of the exciting things about the full run of the journals on JSTOR is that in many cases, if you're studying a book that has been published within the last 100 to 150 years, you very well might find a book review about that book that's more contemporaneous with the publication of the item itself. And in this case, we can see here that the first book review that pops up is from 1958. And so I think that would be very interesting to take a look at a book review of Things Fall Apart from around the time it was published versus a current book review today about that. So that might be kind of a research angle that students might not necessarily be thinking about. And if they want to, you can actually resort the search results by publication date and look at the oldest published item and see some of the other reviews that were published around that same time. Going back again, I'm going to click on the modify search link here and go back to my search here again. I'm going to deselect the reviews because I think I'll run a different search here in just a moment. But I also want to point out that there are also ways to limit search results by language. JSTOR includes content in many more languages than are listed here on this advanced search form, but these are the languages that have the biggest representation on the platform right now. By far, most of the content on JSTOR is in English, but we also have significant amount of content in these other languages. And so it is possible to limit your search to one of these languages. Finally, this page, I really wanted to highlight this journal filter. So it's important to note that this filter right now does just pertain to the journals, but it can really give students a way to focus in a search and filter out irrelevant results fairly quickly. So for example, we could limit our search to African studies. We could also include anthropology, maybe some other related disciplines. And that gives us a way to bring down the search results or focus in our search fairly quickly. What I'm going to do is go back again to the advanced search, but I'm going to start fresh here this time. It's one of the things I wanted to also point out as kind of a research angle that might not be the first thing that comes to mind for a student. With JSTOR, because it incorporates content from so many different disciplines, more than 75 disciplines, you can not only come here to JSTOR if you're doing a search on a piece of literature or novel like Things Fall Apart. You can not only find information like book reviews and critical essays about the content of the book on JSTOR, but you can also do a search in other disciplines to understand the context in which it was written. And if there are history or political elements to a book, you can get corresponding information about the setting and the political situation in which a novel was set. One of the things I would like to do as a demo is a search from pre-colonial and Nigeria, which are key elements to the plot and setting of Things Fall Apart. And then I'm going to add another search box, and I'm going to add the key term kinship because I know that's a theme in the book, and I'm really interested in not just understanding that and how it's represented in Things Fall Apart, but also in general in Nigerian society at the time. I'm going to go ahead and run that search, and that gives us a very large set of search results, a relatively large search result set, though I see that some of the things that are popping up first look very interesting to me. But I'm going to go back one more time to modify this advanced search, and I'm going to change my Boolean operators here so that I'm not just combining these terms, but I'm going to look for two of these key terms within a few words of each other so I can try to really see if I can focus that search in further. So I'm changing the and between pre-colonial and Nigeria to near 10, which will look for these two words within 10 word places of each other. And then I'm going to rerun that search. And in that case, I bring it down from almost 5,000 results to 134. So I think that really helps me kind of cut through a lot of results that might not be useful to me. You can see here too that we have many of those same filters that are present on the advanced search within the search results page. So you can do your refining after a search results set and see how it affects your result. But what I'd like to do right now is to jump over to look at one of these articles and to show some of the features on that view page that might be useful for students and they're building their search skills. So I'm going to select this article, industrialization and kinship, and we'll jump over here to take a look at this particular item. And so now you have, of course, the full citation information here. You have the stable URL, which is very useful if you're citing this or want to return to it or place a link to this article in a course web guide or another document. The Cite This Item button over to this area. And so now right underneath the citation information itself, you have all of the features that allow you to quickly cite this for your citation manager. And then, of course, if there is an abstract available for the article, you'll find that full abstract here. What I wanted to spend a little bit of time on are the other tabs on this page, which I'm not sure if many students investigate these tabs, but they can be very useful in a few different ways. I clicked on the middle tab here, which has a little thumbnail icon on it, and that gives us a way to quickly see thumbnail images of all of the pages within the article. That can be a really useful feature if, for example, you know there's an image in this article, or you want to scan the article to see if there is an image or a chart that you're looking for. You can quickly jump over to this thumbnail view and scan for that. It also gives you a way to kind of scan to see where the conclusion is or the reference is, to help you evaluate the relevance of this article to your research. The third tab is the References tab. So I'm going to click on that one. And we could see in the thumbnail view where the references start in the original publication. But what we've done is captured all of those references individually and collected them in this tab to make it easier to access those without having to do that navigation through the article. So in this case, there are 37 references. We can scroll down and see them all. And one of the things I wanted to point out is that you will find for some items on JSTOR links from these references. In particular, these few items here are links to other articles that are on JSTOR. So you can scroll down this references tab, and in this case, we could click on this and go directly to this cited article in JSTOR. And we can also provide a way to find some of these articles via Crossref. You see that it's not present for everything yet, but I think that's something that we'll be working on. So you can get to the text analyzer from any page on JSTOR by going under this Tools menu and choosing Text Analyzer. Or if you're starting out on the main page of JSTOR where we started today, there is a link to the Text Analyzer as well under the main search box. So I'm going to select that, and Text Analyzer is a tool that was created by the JSTOR Labs team. And it's a different way to search on JSTOR. And what it does is that it enables you to upload or paste in text from your own document to search for articles and books that cover similar content. So the example I'm going to use here is that I found this syllabus public on the University of Washington site, and it's a syllabus for a recreational fisheries class. So we're very much switching topics here from literature to biology and science research. What is really interesting about this syllabus is that it has a lot of detailed information about the topic of the class and what's going to be studied. Imagining I'm a student who's a sophomore and I'm taking this 200 level class in fisheries management. The topic of fisheries is new to me. What I could do is take all of this information that's about the topic of the class, just stop here, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to move back to the text analyzer view and just paste in all of that information from the syllabus. And then I'm going to click Analyze and see what happens. What the text analyzer is doing is that it's taking that text I entered, it's looking at the vocabulary that's used in it, it's associating that vocabulary with the topics from the JSTOR thesaurus, and then it's looking on JSTOR for articles that cover those same topics. And then I get a set of search results from that. Before I jump into talking about how the text analyzer works and what we're looking at on this page, I would like to mention that any text that you enter into the text analyzer or any document that you upload to it, so for example, you might have a draft paper that you're working on and you might be wondering, are there other articles I'm missing that would be relevant to this paper and this research, but I haven't found them for whatever reason. I'm going to upload my paper and see if there are any matches on JSTOR for it. We're not going to store your content you entered. We only use it during that search process. You just saw kind of flash by on the screen and then it's gone. We're not saving it, downloading it, storing it in any way. So you can feel comfortable uploading, and students can feel comfortable, and faculty can feel comfortable uploading documents here because we're not storing them in any way. We really just use them for that search process. Now that we've got our results here, you can see that on the right are the items that the text analyzer has identified as covering the same topics as that text I entered. And then on the left is an analysis of that text and the related results. So out of that text I entered and the articles that are related to it, the text analyzer has identified that these are likely some of the most important topics covered in that text. And then below that are the full set of terms that it identified. So the ones that are in bold here or highlighted in blue are the prioritized terms that are listed above, but there are other topics that it's identified as being related to this. And then there are also some locations it's identified out of the text I entered. And what the text analyzer does is it gives you control over refining your search using these topics. So I might decide that I'm not really interested in the fishing industry per se, so I can remove that topic as a prioritized term. And then you might have missed it, but very quickly on the right-hand side, after I remove that term as being one of the most high priority topics, it resorted the search results to the right here according to my change of the prioritized terms. Another thing I could do is to add a topic. So say I really want to zero in on Washington State. I could click on that. We'll add Washington State as a prioritized term up here, and then it reshuffled again the results on the right-hand side. If I'm not seeing a term that is in this set that I want to add, I can add it here. And that is a way that you can do some more refining of your topics in a much different way than you might in a kind of traditional search form. I can also choose how heavily these search terms are weighted. So I'm going to really amp up the importance of fisheries management here and maybe dial down Washington State, and that will also change the set of search results on the right. Even though this is a beta tool, which means that it's still under development and you could run into a bug here that you might not find in other places on the site. Well, first of all, if you do run into a bug or anything that seems off, we'd love to hear from you so we can make this better. There's a link where you can send us feedback, but you do have many of the features here that also appear on a traditional search results page for JSTOR. You've got the ability to download PDFs, save items, cite them, and then you have that set of core search filters that allows you to refine your search. So if I'm really interested in just articles, I could deselect all of these items here, and that will automatically update my search results as well. But one of the ways in which we're hearing from some librarians and teachers, some of the value they're finding in the text analyzer beyond kind of creating a bit more of a new way to look for content is that by providing this breakdown and analysis of the terminology that's used within this set of search results, it can give students or novice searchers a way to scaffold knowledge if they're new to research, to academic research. It can also give them a way to kind of understand the vocabulary that's used within a particular discipline if they're doing some searching in a discipline that's not their main area of expertise. And it can give students a little bit more of a bridge into the creation, perhaps of better search terms by providing this controlled vocabulary here, an example of what happens when you try out different vocabulary with different searches. We've got contact links at the bottom of every page on JSTOR. We'd love to hear from you if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your time in joining me here today. I hope you found some useful things for your work and to help your students and faculty.